Hey there, word detectives. What if I told you that just one tiny Latin root could act like a master key, literally unlocking dozens and dozens of complex English words? Today, in this explainer, we're embarking on a pretty high-energy mystery journey. We're going to decode a secret formula that actual spelling bee champions use to totally conquer the dictionary. So if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by massive, tricky vocabulary words, you are definitely in the right place. Get ready to train your brain, because we're about to unlock the secret of SPECT.
Okay, let's dive right into this. I've got a question for you at home and for our mascot, Curious Rabbit. What exactly connects this glowing treasure chest of vocabulary words? Just look at them. Spectator, inspect, retrospect, and spectacular. Honestly, they sound totally different, they use different prefixes and suffixes, and they mean completely different things. But here's the catch. They share a hidden DNA. There's a core sequence of letters in there that gives away their deepest meaning. Have you spotted it yet?
To solve this, we actually need to jump in a time machine. We're heading back thousands of years to ancient Rome with Detective Owl. See, the Romans used the Latin verb spectate, which simply meant to look or to see. And over the centuries, as language naturally evolved and shifted, that word traveled across borders, morphed around a bit, and embedded itself right into the English language. Today, it leaves us with this golden root formula. Whenever you encounter SPCT, it always means to look, to see, or to watch. So, the big idea for this entire explainer is perfectly represented here by Spect the Chameleon. If you take away just one thing today, make it this. When you see SPECT, think see. Seriously, just imagine a giant, glowing pair of eyes hovering right over those 5 letters. If you can just remember that this root always involves observation, sight, or watching, you've literally won half the battle of understanding any word it belongs to.
Now, language is alive, right? Which means our root likes to wear a few different disguises to keep us on our toes. Let's meet the 3 specific variants you're going to encounter out in the wild. First up is the classic spect, like in the word inspect. Number 2 drops the T entirely and is just spec, like a specimen you'd look at under a microscope. And number 3 gets a little sneaky. It changes the vowel to an I, becoming spic, like in the word conspicuous. 3 different disguises, sure, but they all mean the exact same thing, looking and seeing.
What's really fascinating here is how you can think of the root spect as a camera lens. The prefix? Well, that just tells you where to point it. Add in, and you get inspect, to look into. Add pro, and you prospect, looking forward. Retro literally means backward, so retrospect is looking backward. Intro means inward, giving us introspect, which is looking inward at your own thoughts. And circum means around, so being circumspect means you're looking around cautiously. It's basically a built-in compass for your vocabulary.
And seeing how these words grow from the same root trunk is amazing. It's almost like branches on a massive tree. Look at our first word family branch here. We start with inspect, which naturally grows into inspection, and then the person actually doing the looking, the inspector. On the flip side, we have respect. The prefix re means back or again, so to respect someone is to look back at them with regard. And that branches out into respectful and respectable. You aren't just memorizing isolated words anymore, you're harvesting whole families.
Keeping that word map going, we can see how this directional looking branches out into some absolutely essential high-level vocabulary. Prospect, looking forward to future possibilities, gives us perspective, like a prospective college student. Retrospect, looking at the past, gives us retrospective, like an art gallery showing a painter's past work. And introspect, looking inward, gives us introspective, which describes someone who thinks really deeply about their own feelings. It all connects perfectly.
Wrapping up our top essential words, let's see how watching an event turns into a full-blown vocabulary branch of its own. So, a spectator is someone who watches. But what are they watching? They're watching a spectacle, a visually striking performance or display. And if that spectacle is incredibly impressive to look at, well, then it's absolutely spectacular. Do you see how beautifully they all tie back to that giant pair of eyes we talked about? All right, time to level up. Let's dive into some advanced spelling bee trials. Remember that tricky spic variant we mentioned earlier? Let's contrast 2 absolute heavyweights. On the left, we've got conspicuous, which means standing out so as to be clearly visible. Literally, it's easy to look at. On the right, we have perspicacious. The prefix per means through, so someone who is perspicacious has ready insight. They can look through complex things to understand them clearly. These are serious champion-level words right here.
Now, the real trick here is understanding the subtle differences when your sight is actually deceiving you. Let's look at specious on the left. If something is specious, it has the appearance of being true, but it's actually false. It merely looks good on the surface. Now compare that to perspicuity on the right. That means extreme clearness and transparency. It's incredibly easy to look at and understand. So one is a visual trick while the other is pure visual clarity. Let's take a quick detour into the science lab to decode a pretty massive word, spectrometer. Even if you've literally never taken a physics class in your life, you can still act as a word detective here. Spectrum means looking, and meter means to measure. Put them together, and what do you get? It's a scientific instrument used to look at and measure the spectrum of light. See? The root is doing all the heavy lifting for you. Knowing this root gives you an immediate, powerful clue into even the most advanced scientific fields. I mean, spectroscopy sounds incredibly intimidating, right? But just look at the end of the word, scopy. Kind of like in telescope or microscope, which also relates to viewing. So it is literally the science of looking at the interaction between matter and radiated energy. You are officially decoding high-level science with spelling.
Let's do a quick check to see how these 5 advanced words all tie back to our central theme of observation, using that spec variant. A specimen is an individual animal, plant, or object used as an example to be looked at. Species are groups of organisms that look similar. To specify is to identify something clearly so it can be seen. Specific relates to that clear viewing. And to speculate, that's just looking at a situation and forming a theory. Makes total sense, doesn't it?
Okay, pause. Major spelling bee alert right here. You've got to beware of the sneaky middle letter combinations that trip up so many competitors. Take a close look at perspective. It's spelled P-E-R-S-P-E-C. Do not let that confuse you into dropping the S. And then check out circumspection. It's C-I-R-C-U-M-S-P-E-C-T. The transition from the M in circum straight into the S in spection is exactly where so many spellers fail. But not you, for sure, because now you know your roots. Here's some huge champion speller insight for you. Elite spellers use roots to predict the meanings and spellings of totally unfamiliar words. Look, rote memorization is great, but decoding is a superpower. You obviously can't memorize the entire dictionary, but if you memorize the roots, you can actively reverse engineer thousands of words you've never even seen before, even while standing right there on the competition stage. Let's actually put this to the test with our first set of rapid-fire practice sentences. Scan through these, you'll see everyday sentences like, the inspector checked the bridge, or the spectators cheered at the game. Notice how these aren't just obscure spelling words. They're functional, everyday words we use in school, sports, science, and history. Our root is quite literally everywhere you look. And it just keeps going, proving these definitions in real context. In retrospect, I should have studied more. Or, the prospect of snow excited the kids. Reading these words in context proves that whether you're talking about everyday life or serious academic subjects, the formula SPECT equals C holds completely true. Feel free to pause for a second and read through these to really test your brain. All right, challenge time. I want you to actively test your new skills right now. We've got 3 mystery words on the board: prospectus, introspection, and specter. I want you to guess the meanings of these words based strictly on their prefixes and our core root. Think about pro meaning forward, and intro meaning inward. And what in the world could a specter be? Take a quick mental guess right now. Got your guesses? Let's see how you did. A prospectus is a document looking forward at a proposed project. Introspection is the act of looking inward at your own mental state. And a specter? It's a ghost, literally a terrifying sight or vision. Proving once again that knowing the direction of looking cracks the code every single time. How many did you get right? Okay, rapid-fire mental quiz time. Let's challenge your memory on everything we've covered so far. If I ask for a word that means to look backward, you automatically know it's retrospect, right? If the blank says, the scientist examined the blank under the microscope, you know it's specimen. Your brain is automatically wiring all these clues together now, and it's awesome. Moving on to the really heavy hitters, this final challenge pushes you to analyze the deepest, most complex words in the family. We're talking about breaking down words like perspicacious and spectroscopy. It's asking you to isolate the prefix, the root, and the suffix, and then synthesize a whole definition from scratch. Honestly, this is the exact mental workout that takes a student from an average speller to a regional champion. Before we finish up this explainer, let's lock this into your brain with some powerful memory tricks. Picture a spectator eating hot dogs and watching sports. Vivid, right? Now picture a detective pulling out a magnifying glass to inspect and look into clues. And finally, picture yourself driving a car, looking in the rearview mirror. That is retrospect. Tie the word to a strong picture in your mind, and you will literally never forget it. Okay, Here is your ultimate 1-minute mastery review checklist so you are 100% prepared for competition. Number 1, SPECT means look, see, or watch. Number 2, watch out for those sneaky disguises, spec, spec, and spike. Number 3, always group your words into families. And number 4, use the prefixes like a compass to find the direction of the looking. That's it. You have officially mastered this system.
Remember, champion spellers learn roots, not just words. You are now equipped with a master key that unlocks an entire wing of the English language. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you're reading a book, taking a huge test, or standing behind a microphone at a spelling bee and you encounter a massive, intimidating word, don't panic. Just look for the eyes. When you see SPECT, think see. So are you ready to crack the code on your next route? Stay curious out there, word detectives.